Happy Monday Spots with students. It's Scarlett here, and I'm here to kick us off this week with our Devos. We have been going through a kind of like a little series, I guess, this summer with our devotional time of how can we love God with our heart and our soul and our mind. And today I want to focus on what does it look like to love God with our mind. And one way we can do that is loving God through joy and to have joy. But I really want to kind of get into what does it actually look like to have joy, or what does joy even mean? And so I want to look at one psalm that has been incredibly helpful for me, and how God has shown me joy and has taught me about his joy. So if you have a Bible or you have a phone or anything, if you could pull up Psalm 16, and it's only 11 verses, we'll read it through, and I just want to unpack a couple of them for you guys and really just kind of look at joy in this psalm. So Psalm 16, starting in verse 1, it says, "Preserve me, O God, for in you I take refuge. I say to the Lord, you are my Lord. I have no good apart from you. As for the saints in the land, they are excellent ones, in whom is all my delight. The sorrows of those who run after another God shall multiply. Their drink offerings of blood I will not pour out, or take their names on my lips. The Lord is my chosen portion and my cup. You hold my lot. The lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. Indeed, I have a beautiful inheritance. I bless the Lord who gives me counsel. In the night also my heart instructs me. I have set the Lord always before me, because he is at my right hand, I shall not be shaken. Therefore my heart is glad, and my whole being rejoices. My flesh also dwells secure. For you will not abandon my soul to Sheol, or let your Holy One see corruption. You make known to me the paths of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore." Whenever I was in college, I had gone through just a season of it was just darkness. And it was I had gone through just a lot of loss, and just loss of people in my life, loss of dreams, and it just felt dark. And it just felt really heavy. And a good friend of mine had sent me a card with this psalm in it, specifically the last 5 verses. And something that really stuck out to me was in verse 11, when it says that you have made known to me the paths of life, and in your presence is fullness of joy, and at your right hand are pleasures forevermore. And whenever I was even thinking about this time of how can I describe what joy is or talk about what it is, that verse of in your presence is fullness of joy. Thinking about that, and kind of even thinking about Galatians 5, where we can read that joy is a fruit of the Spirit. We can take from both of these that joy in itself has a supernatural origin. It's different than happiness, because when I'm going through something that's hard or challenging, I can actually have joy in it. I may not be happy doing it, but I can have joy. So it's what's the difference? And I remember during that hard time, there was a day, and it was like everything just felt like it was coming after me, and I remember just laughing with friends and just not worried about what was going to come next. And someone was like, "This is just joy, and this is just joy in your life." And that was like kind of the clicking moment of, wow, I can be going through something really hard, but the joy of the Lord is my strength. And I believe that is because we are able to be in the presence of God, and being able to see who he is, what he's capable of, where he can take us, is what we can reflect on as joy. And that's our hope, knowing God is my rock, that he is able to control all these things. In this psalm, it talks about that he holds our future, that he bestows blessings upon us, that he counsels us, he protects us. And it's like, if God is all those things, then I don't have to worry. And when we don't have to worry about our situation, or even when hard things happen to us, we can have hope, knowing that this is not forever. And so even sitting in that dark time, knowing that, okay, I'm in this season right now that's really hard, but that season won't last forever. And so it's like right in this moment, I can have joy because I have hope in God, knowing that what is hard in this moment will come to an end, and that God is victory over everything. So it's like I delight in the Lord because of his goodness, because of who he is, and I can be firm in him in that. And so seeing that kind of like supernatural foundation for it, or the origin of it. It's whenever hard things happen that we can have joy that surpasses all understanding. And so kind of even thinking about that and even looking at like my own story with it, joy like may just come in moments that you least expect it, where it's like, wow, I may be crying or I'm dealing with something hard, but I can have joy and delight in God, knowing who He is. So kind of always just falling back to who is God, and knowing that He is the giver of life and joy and goodness and mercy and grace. That joy is what carries on. And we see in Philippians, Paul is in a jail and he talks with just tremendous joy, saying, this is for the gospel. And I delight in even who God is, that even though I'm in a jail cell and I'm in prison, that I don't have to fear. And so kind of looking at all those things, and understanding that joy is different than happiness, that we can be in something hard, something mundane, doing something that doesn't make us happy, but that we can have joy from God in doing so. For us this week, I really want to challenge you to think about something that's kind of mundane for you. So for me, that's doing laundry, or that's taking out the trash, or that's unloading the dishwasher, or sometimes honestly going to the grocery store. But how can I take something like that and serve someone else with it with joy? And so it's like, this isn't necessarily something that kind of excites me to do, but what is something, take that one thing and then ask God, Lord, can you give me joy in serving someone with it? And so whether that may be taking trash out for your family, or offering to unload the dishwasher, or whatever it may be, it's how can I do this with joy? And something that I think about, or that I have to remind myself of, is that if joy has a supernatural origin, if that is in God alone, that this only can be found in His presence, God is joy. His nature is joy. And us as image bearers, as ones who reflect God's image, that we get to show the world who He is when we show joy. When we reflect His joy. And so sometimes it's like even asking the Lord, overflow my heart with this, that I may be able to show others more of you. And sometimes it's a hard thing to do, and we may be even stopping ourselves from it. Am I just indwelling in self-pity, or whatever it may be, that's keeping me from the Lord and not abiding in Him in order to have this abundance of joy? And so even asking, Lord, is there something that's keeping me from you about it? And so that's my one challenge for you this week, is finding that one thing. And it's like, how can I reflect God's image of joy while I do this, and serving someone else, so that they may be able to see God's joy too? And so I would love to hear what you guys come up with, whether that's commenting down below or DMing through this Instagram account, and seeing how you guys spread joy this week. And so Psalm 16 is my verse, or my psalm when I'm going to when it talks about joy. And maybe that's looking, finding your own as well. So hopefully this verse, or this psalm, was helpful for you in that time. And so I'd love to hear what you guys came up with, and really get to see what you guys do. So I hope you have a great Monday. Hope it's joy-filled, and that you guys can and truly experience and live out God's joy, and be that image bearer of Him to the rest of the world. So happy Monday, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.